YouTube, what's going on? Chris here. I want to bring you an update on Digibyte, and what we're going to be doing here, we're going to step back and we're going to look at it on 1 week chart. And it's important to step back a lot of times and really start at the 1 week chart, then go into the 1 day chart, then go into like the 12 hour and then the 4 hour. You know, it's important really to step back and see what's happening with these candles, because each one of these candles is a representation of an entire week of trading. So that's all the ups and downs and false breakouts and everything else. So this is going to give you a lot of data as to what's going on. And what we're seeing for Digibyte here is we're in a huge battle with the 200 moving average on the weekly right here in purple. And that 200-day moving average, we want to keep that as support. You see last week how we closed slightly up above this purple line right here. Both times we had these little wicks right here. This week, the close is very important because we're either going to close up above that again, which could show strength, and we come up and try to get up above this 20 EMA here, or it's going to show weakness, and we could start to drop even farther. So you want to pay attention to this close this week. It's really important because we're sitting right on, we have a doji candle right on, and that's indecision candle right on this 200-day moving average. So your 200-day moving average is your longer term moving average, and that's what a lot of longer term investors like to look at. So keep that in the back of your head there. Also on the Fibonacci here, so this is the move from our low to our high. We're right now sitting in between the 0.5 and also the 0.382, and being right in between there now, that's also showing the indecision of, are we going to get a breakout to the upside or the downside? Digibyte's going to break hard to one side depending on how this candle closes this week. So you really want to pay close attention to what Digibyte does this week. Now, something that I'm not necessarily liking is the fact here we basically almost had a bearish engulfing candle. Actually, we did have a bearish engulfing candle of this candle right here, which is further evidence that we may continue to get pushed to the downside a little bit farther, guys. We have decreasing volume, and then we're also having that, you know, just squeeze in between these two moving averages. But the fact that we had a bearish engulfing candle, if you research about them, they're very powerful in saying, okay, this could be the start of that retracement where maybe we even come down to this 0.618 before we find support and ultimately try to make it up to a higher high. So what you're having is, here's your low, here's your higher high, here's your higher low, higher high. We're trying to put in a higher low and then try to put a higher high. And whenever you're going up in a bull market, or a short-term bull market, or an intermediate-term bull market, or a longer-term bull market, you're looking for those higher highs and higher lows. In a bear market, you're looking at the lower highs and lower lows is what's taking place. So our lower high actually could land anywhere in here, guys, as long as we don't break below this area right down in here, around that 0.00823. All right, now what we're going to do is get into some of the oscillators. So we know what our overhead resistance is. Our overhead resistance is this 20-day EMA in green, and also we're flirting with this 200-day moving average right there. So we're going to have to see what happens with that. Now, when we go to our RSI, and this is probably one of my favorite indicators. It's one that I like to use all the time. So the RSI is just kind of neutral right now, guys. Probably a little more bearish than it is bullish, but we'd almost say the neutral camp. We're at 44 right now. We had that drop here. Now we're just kind of moving sideways, still pointed down just a little bit. So we're going to have to see what happens with that, but not a ton. You're not spotting any divergences, anything like that on the RSI. So we're going to click out of that. The next one I want to go to is the stock RSI. In the stock RSI, we have a bearish cross that is taking place. We're at 79 and 90, so we are oversold right there, and there's that cross, guys, that's heading to the downside. So I would be careful. Remember, I'm not your financial advisor. You can do whatever you want to do, but I would be careful just buying at these levels right now. Obviously, if you're a long-term hodler, just keep holding on. You know, we're a lot closer to the bottom than we are to the top, so this is the time to hold for the long term. But if you're trading them, you know, this is an area where you want to be a little bit questionable with the stock up like that and all that for a longing position right now until we find some good support and make a move up. And so just pay attention to that doji this week and see what happens. Next one I want to go to is the Bollinger Bands and see what's happening with those. See if we're seeing any squeezes or overextensions. Alright, so the Bollinger Bands, we're not too bad here. We're actually starting to get a little bit of a squeeze here. We're up above the middle band, which is good. We're holding that as support, but you can see the downward line right here, this top trend line that's coming down upon us. So that's an area that you want to look at there, and then also this lower Bollinger Band here. So a lot of times you'll find support off this, you'll find resistance up here, and then this middle band's a good little base just to kind of see if we do find support off it. So we'll say on the Bollinger Band a little more neutral right now. So the stock a little more bearish. The Bollinger Bands we're going to kind of say neutral. Let's go to the MACD, see what's happening there. Alright, so the MACD, this is still kind of a neutral one, guys, and the reason why I'm saying that is we did have our bullish cross down in here, and then we just kind of been moving up, and now we're just parallel with that signal line, and we're just moving that like that. And then also you're seeing we had an increase on this histogram, and now for about 3 weeks or so we're having just that flattening top, and we have not been able to continue to rise or increase. So that white means neutral. So MACD I'm going to put neutral as well. We're just all around a little bit more in like that neutral category. We just have to really wait and see what's going to take place. Let's see if there's any other ones I wanted to do with you. Check momentum, see what that's looking like. See, guys, even with the momentum, you can tell we're getting a little overextended. You can just tell basically what you want to do is almost treat this just like a line graph. Up here you can change your candles, and you can do a line graph, you can do all different types of stuff. And if you haven't seen that, I'll show you real quick. So what you do, you'd click on one of these candles right here, and this is actually going to allow you to change all your colors, different things like that. You can go into your scales. See, and this is just what I have. A lot of people don't mess with that too much. They'll just do whatever the candles, but I like to change them up from time to time and just see what's going on. So here's what you do. Candles, and you can put a line graph, so you can turn that into a line graph and see what it looks like. You can do the bars, so that's a bar chart. Hollow candles. And hollow is pretty good too. I like looking at the hollow candles. Those aren't bad. So, but those are some of the ones I like to you guys. There's more all throughout here. I don't know if you've ever seen any of these. They're all different. Line break. But I think it's pretty cool just to do some different settings, even going into the bar chart sometimes, just to see if anything looks a little bit different. But the main thing I do like to use is the candlestick charting. It's Japanese Candlestick Charting. The best book I read was Japanese Candlestick Charting by Steve Neeson. It was wonderful. It taught me just everything I needed to know about candlesticks and candlestick charting and the patterns and all that. So, you know, guys, just keep this on your radar. Look for it. See if we're going to have more of a pullback. We're down 2% right now. We just have to be patient and wait to see where we're going to find support and see what we're going to do with this 200-day moving average. So, God bless you all. Take care. Like, subscribe if you like what we do here, and God bless.